Welcome back to another episode of Gambling State University, the true crime story of Shinehead, the college bookie who in the early 1990s somehow took over the gambling across 6 major universities in the South. As always, I'm your host, Kevin Skeeney. If you guessed, I'm a writer, and yes, I get paid by the word. This part in our story, the number of gamblers betting with Shinehead is growing week by week. It's far more than Shinehead can handle himself. So in order to handle the other sides of the business, Shinehead at this point has to find partners. One partner would be the face of the operation, the fun stuff, responsible for recruiting new bettors, finding other bookies to turn into runners. And the other would be the muscle, usually guys who wanted to work off a betting loss who'd go and collect for Shinehead from any deadbeats refusing to pay. But how does a straight-laced kid on a math scholarship even make it this far, to have to hire partners and contracted collectors? As a bookie, how did he make it this far? For Shinehead, it was all, I guess, a calculated risk, and sometimes, if you're lucky, risk is rewarded. This is Gambling State University, Episode 4, Collections and Risky Business Partners.
There's always the risk. There's always the risk. I was just willing at that point to take on nearly any risk because I thought I could beat it, right? I thought at that point I could beat it one way or the other. I'd weaseled my way out of enough things. I could weasel my way out of this.
Let's talk about this first time that you were faced with having to make an example out of somebody who was giving you pushback.
The first time that I thought that I needed somebody else to get involved, right? I didn't want to be personally involved, but I wanted to prove to everybody that if you push me, I'll take it to the next level, because I had never did it and I never had to do it at that point, right? So, I get one, don't really know him that well. He just flat out says, you know what? I don't have it and I'm not going to pay it. And if you want it, come and get it.
How much was the debt?
It was probably about $1,500 or something.
Okay, so it's significant.
I mean it was enough, right? It was enough that
it's 1990s money, so that's a lot of money.
It was enough that it mattered, but honestly, it wouldn't have mattered how much the amount was. It was the fact that somebody said, you know what? I'm not paying you, and come and get it, right? So he drew a line in the sand that said, if you want it, come and get it, and I don't think you're going to do it. And I'm like, you know what? If I don't do this, then that whole house over there, anybody is just going to push me around. I'll never collect anything out of these guys if he gets away with it. I'm like, all right. I said, fine. I'm just telling you, that everywhere you go around here, you better keep your head on a swivel, because somewhere, somehow, we're going to get this. You are going to settle this. And I said, and this is the last conversation you're going to have from me, period. Hang up, done. So now I've got to figure out how I'm going to do it, right? I mean, now I've drawn the line in the sand. I mean, I said I'm going to do it, now I got to go do it. So I had a couple of guys that had lost some money, football players that were out of eligibility that I'd known and played intramural football and shit with and stuff. And I'm like, they thought this whole business was like really cool to be in. Right now that they're out of eligibility, they can get a little bit involved. And I was like, you know what? I'll tell you what, guys. You owe me some. I'll tell you what, how you can make it up to me. I'm like, I know you don't like this group of fraternity guys over here. How about I tell you who it is and you go and get the money from him? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I want you to go right into his house. I want you to knock on his door. I want you to open his door in there and scare the shit out of him. I'm like, he's going to come up with something. And you guys do not leave there without something. I didn't know what something was going to be at that time, but they're like, okay. I really wasn't for sure if they were going to do it. Next thing I know, what did they do? They went right in that house, knocked on the door. He opened the door, and they told him they were there to collect. And if he didn't give them something, they were going to beat the shit out of him right there in his fraternity house, in his room. He really did not have much money, but the only thing that he had was 2 shotguns, 2 guns, and a TV. And so that's what they come walking out of there with. And then they bring it to me. They're like, well, we collected from him. I'm thinking to myself, I want money, man. I don't need, I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with this guy's TV with 2 shotguns? I'm like, now I'm dealing in stolen property. I'm like, this is just a whole different set of other problems there. But it was kind of my first thing that was like, okay, I guess that if they don't have anything and you got to come up with something, we'll take whatever the something is, and if he wants it back, then he'll pay us off at night. If not, I guess I've got my first 2 shotguns and a really nice TV.
What college kid is showing up to school with not 1, but 2 shotguns?
Well, you got to remember in the South, you got a lot of, along with, gambling and sports is also hunting, coming from Florida. I mean, Kevin and I, what do we know about deer season? Fowl hunting. I mean, I just know that a bunch of my buddies like to go deer hunting and they bring me venison and it's really good. That's all I know about it. But yeah, hell yeah, they do have, shotguns and guns, because whenever it is, they're going to go hunting. It's not changing their routine. So absolutely, they've got guns and some big ass screen TV, that weighs 600 pounds for a 50-inch.
So then what was the eventual result? Did you keep the guns? Did you use them as muscle?
I would never get any of that kind of violent. Other things, yeah, it makes, but never with weapons or anything. I was not going to go that way or anything, But yes, I definitely, over the time, I accumulated a few more shotguns and sold them to give them to somebody else. And we traded this or that and ended up with a bunch of damn TVs and stereos and, stuff. I think probably one of the craziest is getting a car. A Jeep. The person had lost so much money. He was thousands in the hole over Christmas break. Right. So there was really no way for me to collect from him over Christmas break. And he got back and he was just flat out like, I can't come up with this. That's not an answer I want to hear. You can't come up with it. I'm like, you seem like you got money, man, because you're coming over here driving in this really nice Jeep. And I kind of was joking like, well, if that's your Jeep, maybe you're just going to have to give me your Jeep. And he was like, well, I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. And I was like, shit, I didn't know. I was just kind of saying this rhetorically, not like that's what I wanted, yeah. Right? And so sure enough, he gives us the Jeep. And so we just use it, drive it, for, I can't remember. It's like a month or 2 or something, whatever. And then finally, out of the blue, I get this phone call and it's from such and such judge something. And I'm like, the judge something from, some little back ass, town. And I'm like, geez, man, how is a judge involved in me, And then he goes on to tell me that Jeep is his son's Jeep. I'm like, yeah. I said, okay. I'm like, all right, I get you. I'm like, you know what? We had our fun. I'll give him his Jeep back. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I can't, I'm not going to let this guy bring the whole operation down. We've enjoyed it. So I'm like, he's going to get his Jeep back. All right. So we decided at that point, we're like, you know what? We are going to give him his Jeep back, but we are going to have one hell of a time. And when he gets his Jeep back, it is not going to be in the condition that he got it in, right? We weren't going to wreck it and destroy it or anything. So what we decided just to do was just make the biggest amount of mess you could in this gigantic bucket. And I'm talking, it was food waste. We shit in it. Anything that you could possibly imagine that was gross.
Only in a
right?
Jeep.
Right? I said, man, when he gets this Jeep back, that's what we're going to give him. We're going to take this shit and we're going to dump it in his Jeep. When he gets there, this thing is going to be literally so shitty and nasty. I'm like, yeah, he thinks he's got one back on us. When he gets in this thing, he is going to be like, what the hell happened to my new Jeep? And that's exactly what we did. We wiped shit everywhere. We made this thing look like an absolute mess. And the expression when I handed him the keys and said, here you go, and opened the door was worth every dime that he lost. And we sat there and just laughed our ass off and said, man, good luck, dude. Good luck cleaning this thing up and don't ever come and see us again. yeah, we collected, right? We didn't beat somebody's ass. We didn't, we're like, all right, we're going to get it, but let's just get it in the right way. But again, it's not like we had bills to pay, right? It's just all profit. We weren't losing any money. I mean, and we were still thinking of ways like, how can we spend it? How can we have fun with it? Our idea is, okay, if this is what it is, let's just make the best of it. I mean, we can get upset all we want about it, but if it's happening, let's turn it around and make it something that's going to be memorable that we can use as an example for what might happen in the future. It was the principle, right? Once anybody gets the idea that if they don't pay you, there's no retribution, right? Then you're out. Your operation done,
yeah.
right?
I
mean, it is a collection business, right?
No numbers game without collection.
It's 100% cash. If you can't get anything and they don't trust that you're going to collect on their debts, you don't have a business, man.
When you made the decision to give the car back, were you worried about the judge at all? And also, were you worried about any, ramifications of what you were doing at that point? Like, what made you decide after you got this phone call from the judge to, again, keep pushing forward instead of drawing back?
At that point, I really didn't think he was like, I'm like, all right. I said, okay. I'm like, we'll get his Jeep back. I'm like, no problem. I just hope you understand. I mean, I remember saying this. I'm like, I hope you understand that your son made a bunch of bets. And the reason that he's in this situation is because of him. Because now he doesn't want to pay for it. So, yeah, we're going to give him his Jeep back. He's going to get it. And I'm like, are we good? No problem. And that's kind of where we left it, right? But in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, judge, yeah, kiss my ass, and the guy that lost all the money, I'm like, yeah, you may think that you've got away with this, and yeah, you have to an extent, but we're going to make this uncomfortable for you, and you have no idea how we're going to do this, right?
So you learned, again, this is what's so fascinating to me, you learned that you have this power now over these people, and that you're not necessarily doing this because you're a jerk and just want to steal someone's car, but you now understand that this guy is in a position to expose his son's gambling problem, which could affect him. So on the political side, once again, you're winning in battles that you have never had to face before. It's like going one-on-one with Mike Tyson with no training, and somehow you are coming out on top. You are jumping on the right sequence of rocks that aren't letting you sink. You're doing something every single time that is making you push this further and further, whereas most people at this point would have completely shut down shop.
Right.
Is that correct?
I mean, it is... what is he going to do? Who's he going to go complain to? Oh, these guys shit in my vehicle. I'm like, what law did we break? He gave it to me. I mean, I gave him back. I mean, I think he just gave us the keys, right? From best I can remember it was kind of like our joy toy. Maybe the deal was we get it for the semester or something, right? I think that was something. I mean, I didn't know enough about, titles and liens and shit like that. I'm like, okay, you offered to give me your Jeep. Just give me the keys. I'm like, I guess I didn't think about what the hell am I going to do if we get pulled over for anything. But it wasn't like we were driving around, town parading with this thing. I mean, we just used it to just fuck off. Just four-wheel it, in some shitty vacant lot that was next to our fraternity house. It had big, craters and shit like that. I mean, that's all we did is just drive around in a vacant lot and just bash the shit out of it, right? Just joyride it and try to mess it up, but not going driving around like it was my personal vehicle or anything. This was so far removed from when I left home, what was going on, they would have no idea, right? I mean, they couldn't fathom, they couldn't dream this thing that was going on with their son, that was just 2 years out of high school, right? I was in a different state. I was, hundreds of 1,000 miles away. It's not like they were coming up there every weekend. I mean, they didn't come during school. They thought I was in school. I mean, why would they want to come up there for? It was just, okay, I drove home. I drove home in my own car. I wasn't kind of going to come driving home in a new Jeep. That would probably have a problem. And again, it's kind of how things were. I kept everything separated. I kept it at school. I never brought any of that back to my hometown. When it was going on, I didn't bring it to my hometown when I was in school. I never brought it to my hometown when I was out of school. I didn't bring it in my professional career. Nothing. I always kept it siloed there.
Joining us today on the phone is a former partner in Shinehead's booking industry who will be going by his nickname, G-Money. He's here to speak about being one of Shinehead's first partners when they were taking over the gambling on all the other fraternities on campus. He's also no stranger to the collection business, even though he wanted nothing to do with it. Shinehead, why did you want to partner up with G-Money?
G-Money was, like me, one of the only Florida boys in our fraternity, right? So I kind of took an immediate, liking to G-Money. Plus, he kind of had a similar sports background and that sort of thing. So loved gambling like I did as well. So G-Money was one of my first partners in year one. So we were kind of learning a lot as we went on. And I think one of the most unique things on there was that, we made enough money. And I think that G-Money's goal was to have a cell phone at that time, which the only cell phone was at that time was a Motorola bag phone. So at that time, to be one of the few people walking around on a college campus with a bag phone somewhat brought some attention to you, and which I think is what he wanted.
The girls liked it, man. No, like Shine said, met him Rush, actually. I was wearing the gold chain with the butt cut, man. And he kind of came up and saved me from some of the Alabama guys. And like he told me, he's like, screw these guys, man. It's like the city has more money than the whole state, so fuck them. And was great advice. But I was a notorious bad gambler. Mm-hmm. And going into the junior year, every fraternity had their own bookie. And Shine was like, it's our year. And I had spent the last couple of years working at Red Lobster just to pay up my gambling debts, lose during the week. And I would actually leave on Monday to go to the matinee at dog races, and I'd lose that too. So I spent more time at the pawn shop than I did in class. But so I'm like, man, there's no way I'm working at Red Lobster. How are we going to come up with this money? And he put some thought into it. And he goes, listen, man, he's like, Notre Dame's always ranked in the top 10. They always suck. We're going to ride the favorites, let people ride the favorites, and then we'll make money, stash 2 weeks aside for gold, and we'll just push the rest off and take the 10% juice and run. And so that's what we did. We started off small, just the two of us. Then it got a little busy. So that's when I got the bag phone, and the ladies did like that.
Did the cops like it?
Oh, well, they didn't care. I'm up in the stadium with the bag phone taking bets, man. And then Friday, Shine's like Mr. Responsibility, all business. And so Friday, he'd come up at a party and be like, dude, we got a busy weekend, man. You need to go home. So I'd take it to the house. And Saturday and Sunday, I was kind of the guy taking the bets. These guys are watching TV and pushing stuff off.
So your bag phone is constantly ringing at this point, I'm guessing.
Oh, constantly ringing.
You had it with you in class sometimes? Is that true?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I took it everywhere with me, man. I had the Mitsubishi Starion, dude. I was the bag phone. It didn't get much better than that.
It was a light 35 pounds,
Oh, yeah. It had the antenna. You just carried around like a little suitcase, man. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic. But so we started getting bigger, and Shine's like, dude, it's time to expand a little bit. So we took over some other fraternity houses that had not done well with their cash. Mm-hmm. And so we grew bigger, and guys stopped paying there for a while. So Shine in his wisdom, we started using guys around campus. We cut their debt off a little bit if they helped us out. So we found one guy in the bursar's office that owed us some money. And we would go ahead and deduct, some problems he had if he gave us class schedules of whoever we were looking for. Because when you owe money, you're pretty good at ducking people. So show up outside a class with one of the pikes. And so Cheyenne gets in his face. There's three of us. Says, you owe us money. He's like, "Little fucking pike, we'll kick your ass." So then we used connections with the athletic department. Two redshirt freshmen show up at the Pike House, walk in. So the dude almost shit in his pants. He's like, "I got to go." So I had no idea this was going on. I walk into our modular home. There's two guns in there. They had confiscated it like a pawn shop. So Cheyenne was definitely business. I was having fun with it. And then we started taking in stuff from our connections in Florida, University of Florida, and Athens, UGA. And that's when they started dropping cinder blocks at car windshields. People call up like, "Man, I didn't know the trouble I was getting into." And Cheyenne's like, "Fuck you, you did." The guy's like, "I'm not going to pay." And, he comes back at 3 o'clock in the morning, hands all dirty from dropping cinder blocks all night. So that's when I was like, I'm going to check out, man. So they went ahead and built it up pretty well. It was like mini Vegas. They rented out 2 apartment complexes, rooms. It had blackjack, roulette going, pizzas, free beer. It was pretty fun college time, man. It was before gambling was huge, but we had a blast doing it.
Tell me more about the cinder blocks. That story.
No, I mean, like Shine comes off as this kind of, quiet guy, but he's kind of like me. I'm like the, flirty guy with the girls. He's just the serious business person. But if you push us too far and piss us off, he wanted his damn money and he was going to get his money. And these guys pull me excuses. We had even, this was sad. One of our own fraternity brothers, we had to call him out. We finally went to collect and Shine knocked on the door. The dude's mom was in from Tampa picking him up to take him home because he had a mental breakdown from us harassing him. So dude had a mental breakdown. Nice guy, but man, he just had a gambling problem.
Mm-hmm. And I heard
he had a losing problem.
Yeah, and also a sister and a mom who showed up for him.
Yeah, they showed up to pick him up, man. That's when I was like, dude, it's time for me to check out. And I had actually saved money, so I quit the Red Lobster job and just concentrated on the girls, and I kept my bag phone. So I was good to go.
Could you text with the bag phone?
I got
back
what
then?
I wanted, man.
Yeah. You actually had to text. It was like a full message. You had to. It was a texting and pencil.
Back then, and it was literally like, I think it was like freaking $13 a minute to use the damn thing. I'm a chatty guy. I'm in the stands talking. He's like, just take the fucking bets and get off the phone, man. You're costing us money. So he's stingy with the money, but Shine always wanted his money.
What would happen when you were in class with the phone and it would go off? Would teachers get upset? Would you be, drawing unnecessary attention to yourself? How'd that work out?
I mean, I kind of left it off during burning classes, but dude, the football players thought I was like freaking G money, dude. I mean, I'm walking through with the cell phone, and half the guys are from Florida anyways, and they're like, "What's up, man?" So I stuck out a little bit like a sore thumb, and people knew who we were. And the one thing Shine is though is that, he kind of didn't want us to gamble on the side. We did a little bit here and there, but there was always one thing he always said, man. Sunday you had to bet Hawaii dog on the rock, and we always bet that, dude. And
what
always
is it?
Came in.
So Hawaii, when they're playing
the Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Rainbow Warriors. So when Hawaii is playing at home in that time zone for us on the East Coast, it was actually the following day. Mm-hmm. So we always said bet Hawaii at home because people on the rock because no one likes to travel. It's such a bitch to travel there for a game. And that was like kind of one of the consistent things. Bet Hawaii at home on the rock and, bet home dogs. That was what we, bet home dogs. So we learned a lot. We actually learned a lot of gambling ourselves because we saw the trends of who was winning and mostly who was losing. So if we played the opposite side of what everybody else was betting, pretty good chance we were probably going to win, because they were, they were shitty to start with. We just go what the opposite of them.
You need to tell about Leonard's Losers, man. Every gas station had this pamphlet with this big fat guy called Leonard's Losers. And it was free, and he'd have all his picks for the week, man. This guy was a freaking demigod. I mean, he knew his shit inside and out, and everybody thought he was crazy, and we treated it as the Bible.
He was. So it was like a little, almost like a little rinky-dink, 2-page newspaper thing. And so the way he did his picks is, it was called Leonard's Losers. So instead of picking who was going to win, he'd always pick who was going to lose the bet. And everybody in town, I mean, all over the Southeast, they were dying to get on Thursday night, I think when it came out, or Friday night. Everybody was running to the Piggly Wiggly or whatever it was distributed to get Leonard's Losers. And we could tell, man, whatever Leonard's Losers was on there, that's what people would be betting.
So it helped you in the long run then.
Trust me, we didn't have 7-Elevens and shit like that. I mean, it was crap ass gas stations, dude, with pickles, hog's feet, in jars and shit, man. Yep. And there'd be 10 of you sitting in line waiting for Leonard's Losers to get delivered.
I think it was funny, right? He kind of had a Southern way of saying how the game would go, but it got you thinking about what was going to happen. Right. So all it did was it drummed up more and more interest in games. And that's really what you want is, consistently the people that lose are the ones that play a lot of games. The ones that win is if you're really disciplined and you only bet a few and you just pinpoint the ones that you really like a lot. But it's very hard to sit there all day watching games and only have money on one. Most people want to have some reason to watch it.
Right. Their bases go. Yeah, essentially.
And really, it's all business. It's like Vegas, man. It's like blackjack. You got red and black. You got 50.5%. On the gambling side, you take in your bets and, you push the rest of them out, match it up, and you take the 10% juice so that it just becomes volume. Get as many guys to bet. And you could tell, the winners, losers, especially beginning novice bettors, they'd follow this guy to a T. So we knew whether to play it off or go ahead and stick with the bets.
It was just a Bible for gamblers because you get an opinion from somebody and you might stick with it, you might not, but it just drummed up interest. So there was always interest in lots of games, and that's what it was just great to read because he was country man and he was just funny as hell.
That's great.
I think he called the Catholics. Notre Dame was always the fish eaters. He had little acronyms and stuff for everybody, man. He left no stone unturned.
Well, if you thought Shinehead was reaching his peak at this point in the story, you're completely wrong. On the next episode of GSU, we speak with the partner responsible for taking Shinehead into the casino business, and we hear an incredible story from the professor, and we'll learn how a bookie becomes a runner and the key to Shinehead's expansion to other universities. I'm Kevin Skeeney. See you next Wednesday for another episode of Gambling State University.